I scored 97 out of 100 in 10th board maths. 4 years later, I failed in engineering maths in college. Same brain, same efforts. What changed wasn't my IQ. And once a neuroscientist explained it to me, every exam that I'd ever bombed suddenly made sense. Here's why this matters to you. If you were the kid who studied hard, got results, and then somewhere between college and adult life felt that your brain just stopped working, you don't have a talent problem. You have a learning method problem. By the end of the video, you will know 5 conditions that your brain actually needs to rewire itself. Stick around for condition number 4. That's the one that broke me and that nobody is talking about. Now, let me tell you about this guy you already know of. Mr. Virat Kohli. England tour, 2014. 5 tests, 10 innings, 134 runs total, an average of 13. James Anderson made him look like a club cricketer. Everyone wrote him off. Now, here's the part that most people miss. Kohli did not just come back by trying hard. He came back completely rebuilding how he practiced. New trigger movements, new shot selection, new sleep schedule, and new gym workout. By 2016, he was the #1 batsman in the world. Same player, same body, and same talent. What changed wasn't the process. And what Kohli did instinctively is exactly what neuroscience has been proving in labs for 40 years. Your brain isn't fixed. It rewires itself. But when you give it the right inputs, and the most of us are giving the wrong ones for our entire life, how is it going to change? Here's the thing that nobody talks about in school. You know how cramming for 6 hours feels productive, but you remember nothing on Monday? A UCLA professor named Robert Bjork actually has a name for it. He calls it desirable difficulty. Basically, the struggle is the learning. Smooth, easy revision feels great and teaches your brain that almost nothing. Effortful struggles feels horrible, but it rewires you permanently. This is neuroplasticity in one line. Your brain changes its response to the process that you put it through. Highlighting a textbook for 2 hours will actually make 0 pathways. But closing the book and trying to explain the chapter out loud to maybe your wall or a friend, pathways are forming in the real time. The brain treats efforts as signal. This matters, and then keep it. It treats comfort as a signal. This is the background noise, discard. And here's where it got personal for me. And once I understood this, I went back and replayed every academic disaster I had ever had. The 97 out of 100 in 10th maths, I'd unknowingly used every condition right. Small daily doses, mixing the chapters, teaching weaker friends, and sleeping properly because there was no Netflix. But when I failed in engineering, I'd done the opposite of all. Same brain, different process, and different outcome. Let me show you the 5 conditions that actually trigger while rewiring. First is intention. You have to know what you're trying to build. Random reading does not really rewire anything. Sundar Pichai in his Stanford talk mentioned that the high leverage habit he built was reading with a specific question in his mind every morning. Same article, but his brain was hunting for something. Now, because it was hunting for something, it kept everything. Without intention, your brain treats input like a passing auto rickshaw, sees it and ignores it. Number 2 is intensity. Again, Bjork research. Your brain needs the task to be just slightly harder than what you can do it comfortably. Too easy and it goes into autopilot, and too hard, then you quit. Roger Federer's coaches famously kept him practicing shots at 80% success rate. Never 100, never 40. That 80% zone is where neurons fire and wires. Number 3 is variety. This one is counterintuitive. Doing the same problem 20 times feels productive, isn't it? Researcher Doug Rohrer showed that interleaving, that is mixing different problem types, produces dramatically better long-term retention than blocking. Now basically switching between maths chapter in one session beats all what you're doing in chapter 1 and then all in chapter 2. The brain has to discriminate, and discrimination is where rewiring lives. Step 4 is sleep. This one broke me. In my COEP hostel rooms, where I actually failed, I'd actually been awake for 38 hours straight. I thought that I was being a warrior, but I was just being a fool. Robert Stickgold at Harvard has shown this actually rewiring. The consolidation of everything that you learned that day happens in the deep sleep. You skip your sleep and you skip rewiring. I loaded the file and then I never let the brain save it. The next morning when I was sitting in the exam, I could feel the chapter that I had known the chapter, but it was not there. It was like opening a folder and finding it empty. That failed remark wasn't just a memory failure, it was a sleep failure. 5 is emotions and dopamine. When the learning clicks, your brain releases dopamine, and the dopamine literally lowers the threshold for neuroplastic changes. This is why a good teacher beats a great textbook. A teacher engineers the click. So when you study and make that click happen on purpose, the connection of new ideas is something that your brain cares about. ISRO engineers reportedly use the teach orbital mechanics by actually mapping it on a cricket trajectory. Same physics, instant click, dopamine spikes up and the pathway is locked. Now here's what to do this week. Pick one skill that you're learning. This could be sales, could be language, or could be coding. And then 1 week, run this checklist on every session. Did I set an intention before I start? Was the difficulty just past my comfort zone? Did I mix variety or just drill on the same thing? Did I sleep for 7+ hours or not? Or did I have any moment where I felt the click? That's it. The other 3, if you would want to do a full research, is frequency, duration, and exercise. Now, if you nail the 5 first and then maybe 3 later on, you are good. Here's the bigger picture. You are not stuck with the brain that failed you in the exam, or the brain that just froze you in your last sales pitch, or the brain that you are not the tech person. Those were never the verdict. They were just the output of the process. If you change the process, your brain will follow. The FF grade for me, when I got it in engineering, did not define my ceiling. It just told me that the method was broken. The day I stopped doing all of that, I negotiated with my talent. And I started negotiating with my method, and everything changed. Save this video. The next time you sit down to learn something hard, a new maybe tool at work, a new certification course, a new language, open this and run those 5 condition checklist before you start. It will just save you 10 hours of fake studying. Share it with some friend, cousin, or maybe juniors who are grinding on the exam right now and they look tired in their eyes. They need more than anything else of any motivational reel that you are watching for. In the comments, tell me which of these 5 conditions that you have been ignoring the most. Be honest, and I will definitely make another video where I talk about not just generic motivation but neuroscience backed tools to peak mental performance. Hit that subscribe button please, because I've done lots of research while creating this video. In the next video, I'm going to break down exactly 90 minutes study block to make you a superhuman. See you there.